and SI leaders here. And I hope through our presentation today that you guys feel more comfortable giving presentations, learn something, and hopefully can apply something to your academic careers. Okay, so you guys will actually have to be interactive with me for this presentation. So what kind of comes to mind when you think of the term public speaking or giving a presentation?
Stage fright.
Stage fright. Okay, what else?
Center of attention.
Exciting, what'd you say?
Center of attention.
Center of attention. Anything else?
Picturing people naked.
You say think of people naked?
Picturing.
Okay, I've never used that tactic, so I don't know if it works, but does anyone in here actually enjoy giving presentations?
To an extent.
Okay.
Depending on like how big. Like if it's a classroom, I'm okay. And if it's like an auditorium, never done that. Probably a little different.
Okay, so like what's your maximum audience that you would feel comfortable with?
Probably 50.
50?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. Anyone else enjoy doing presentations? No one, that's a shocker. So for those of you who don't like doing presentations, what makes you not enjoy it? Just being nervous? Yeah. Anything else?
I could imagine people being nervous because like they don't get the information correct. Like if you're presenting like over something important in your field and you're talking to other people like business for example, and they point you out like, no, that's incorrect. And it's like, whoa.
Ooh, like, sorry. Yeah. And so then what are some tips or advice pointers that you would give someone that is about to present a speech, or tips that you would give yourself like to prepare for a speech? Yes.
Presentation notes, like within like PowerPoint, when you read like basically you don't read word for word.
Yeah.
You just act like you're having a conversation with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just having a conversation with multiple people.
Exactly. It kind of makes it less awkward when you aren't trying to be like super, like, I know more than you. It would make it more like a conversation, definitely. What else? I know there's other tips and pointers that y'all have been
You
given.
gotta rehearse.
Rehearse, definitely. What else?
Drink water.
Drink water.
Be professional.
Be professional.
Engage your audience.
Engage your audience, yep. So, how do you combat that fear? So like you guys were saying, first and foremost is organizing your speech. So the main areas of your speech are like the hook. So what are you saying at the very beginning that's going to grab people's attention and really keep their attention throughout the presentation? Whether it's an opening question. Like if you ever think of or hear a TED Talk, they always start off with like this profound statement or question that kind of grabs the audience attention, and it's what they're going to talk about for the rest of their presentation. And then you have the intro. So this is just giving a little bit of background information. It's kind of like your, debrief on the basics of what needs to be known about your topic. And then you go into your supporting evidence. So why is what you're saying important? Why is it true? Maybe why is it not true? What are you saying that is going to connect to those real world applications? And then a powerful conclusion, which really ties it all together, kind of wraps it up into a little bow, and leaves the audience with a takeaway that they can take home with them and apply into their field, into their job, whatever. And so, like you guys were saying, practicing and rehearsing. So use your friends, use a mirror. As awkward as it is, if you stand in front of a mirror and you rehearse with yourself, I feel like that's less awkward at first when you're trying to learn what you're going to say, but then you see the mannerisms that you give off, like your facial expressions, how much you use your hands, your posture, and that's really the first place that you're going to see what you're doing maybe correctly or incorrectly, or even recording yourself. Setting up someone to help record you, or setting up a video phone to record what you're doing, kind of see how quickly you're talking, the inflection that you're using, again, those facial expressions and features, because sometimes when you speak to other people, you're speaking at a different rate, pace, tone than they are interpreting. So having that sense of feedback is really important when you're trying to improve before you give a speech or a presentation. And then becoming familiar with the setting where it's going to take place. So if it's in a classroom that you have class on a regular basis, you know kind of how well the auditory is within the room. You kind of know where people sit, where to look, where the where the computer is, what kind of technology there is. But what if it's not somewhere that you're used to being in? So making sure you kind of take a scope of your surroundings when you can before giving that speech, so you kind of know what you're going to be dealing with. So definitely bring water, especially if you're going to be speaking for a long period of time. Your voice is going to get kind of hoarse, or your throat's going to get dry, and you don't want to just have like a coughing fit in the middle of your presentation. And then choose comfortable yet professional clothes to wear. So the type of presentation that you give is really going to determine what kind of dress you need. If you're just in a class giving a presentation, your professor may not require you to come, in a nice dress or a suit and tie. But then again, don't come up and present pajama pants and a sweatshirt if that's not the correct attire for the presentation that you're giving. And then visual aids. So PowerPoints, Prezzies, videos are all great, but making sure they're actually relevant. So if you're talking about presentation skills, for example, you're not going to have a random picture of a dog, unless of course the quote on it is relevant. So developing the content. Who is the audience? So who are you talking to? Knowing who you're talking to is going to change the verbiage of what you're using and kind of how you're going to present. If you're speaking to someone that's in your field, you can use a little bit more advanced terminology than if it was maybe, a group of fifth graders. And again, that also is going to determine the topic that you're speaking on. So what is the topic and the questions to be answered? What is that hook that you're trying to get across to people within the first 10 to 15 seconds to really keep their attention? Where will you present? So where is your location? Is it on campus? Is it off campus? Is it in a big room, a small room? Is it going to have air conditioning? Is it not going to have air conditioning? Are you be outside? When will you present? So what time of day? Knowing yourself, if you are not a morning person and you have to give a morning presentation, making sure you're rested the night before, getting a good breakfast, coffee, whatever you need, and for how long. So knowing how to time yourself. How much time do you need to spend on each slide that you're using? How much do you need to prepare for dialogue between you and the audience? And why are you doing this presentation? So what's the purpose? Why do these people really need to know what you have to say? And then how will you present? So is this extremely professional where you're just shooting out information to these people, or are you really looking for a dialogue and for them to take away meaning? So this is kind of a outline for developing your content. So your background information, assuming your audience doesn't know as much as you do. If you are giving a presentation, chances are you're expected to be some kind of expert about this topic. So don't just go in without sharing background information as to why your topic is important or what you think they need to know in order to understand what you're going to be speaking about. Motivation, so why does the audience care? Why are they giving up their time to be at your presentation? Why will they improve by listening to you speak? The information, so give the audience exactly what they need to know. If there's a piece of information that they need to know in order to make the conclusion that you want them to, make sure they know that. This is where you would really tie in your visual aids and videos or auditory clips that are going to help present the information. The conclusion, wrapping it up nicely, keeping them interested, and then what is the takeaway? What is the one thing that if they came back tomorrow and were talking to you that they could take away from it and remember that it can apply to their field or their life? Okay, so more onto the outline and structure. So the beginning, this is your hook and your intro. Remembering the first 10 seconds will set the tone. So if you come in really monotone, you don't really seem excited to be there, you're not keeping eye contact with your audience, they're probably not going to do the same with you. But if you come in with a really passionate intro, a hook question or statement that they're going to be keeping in their brain that they're thinking about for the next 30, 45 minutes or however long you're presenting, then you're going to get them engaged. It is recommended that you, again, begin with some kind of joke, question, something that's going to keep them in their attention and something that you're going to then dive deeper in for the rest of your presentation. The meat, this is the middle. So this is where you give the most amount of information, you kind of go in depth what you're talking about, you give the relevance, bring your points to life. So not just saying the points, but why do they matter? What are they going to be able to be used for? And And then supporting evidence for what you're speaking on, so that you're not just speaking, but again, what is the relevance there? And then ending with your conclusion, and always finishing strong. So engaging your audience. So depending on your topic, audience engagement can be used. If you're speaking to an auditorium of 500 people, it's a lot harder to get engagement from the audience than it is on like this, a room of like 18 people. And so if the humor is appropriate within your context, you can use it. Asking questions, making eye contact. I am a firm believer in eye contact. I try to look at every single one of you guys throughout multiple times in this presentation. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can look right above people's heads or even like to the back of the wall and just keep moving your eyes around so that it doesn't seem like you're just staring at that one person awkwardly throughout. So I just sit here and stand at you and look at you the whole time I'm speaking. Does it make you uncomfortable at all? A little bit. But if I keep moving my eyes around and I make sure that I'm kind of trying to keep eye contact with everyone, does it make that one person feel really awkward? But if you have a friend in the audience that like will make you laugh every time you look at them, please don't look at them unless it's appropriate for your context, but it probably isn't. Again, you don't want to just look right at them if it's going to be intimidating for you or for them. So using inflection. How many of y'all honestly have ever had that professor or that friend that when they talk to you, they speak like this and you don't want to listen to them whatsoever? Oh, I even use inflection. I can't do that. But honestly speaking, how many of y'all have ever had a presentation given to you that was completely monotone and you zoned out within like 5 seconds? Almost everyone in here. When someone has that inflection in their voice, it kind of shows that they're at least somewhat interested. It kind of shows that there's certain areas for more emphasis. And using that inflection, even if people aren't looking at you, if they're taking notes or whatever, that inflection in your voice is going to keep their interest because it shows that you are at least somewhat interested in what you're talking about. Again, allowing for the audience participation. So like there's times that I ask you guys questions or you guys can ask me questions, allowing people to interact with you so that they get that time to speak, especially if they process things by speaking. You want them to have that time to ask you questions or to participate. If you're excited and you're showing a lot of energy, the audience will be too. And then pay attention at the pace of your presentation. So if it is a new topic to your audience, speaking 1,000,000 words a minute is not going to help them. But then again, you don't want to speak so slow that everyone's getting bored and just sitting there like, why am I here? So paying attention to the pace. Visual aids. So when it says don't start off with your visual aids, it just basically means that don't be relying on it too heavily. Start off the beginning of your presentation with that hook, with that question, that comment that's really going to be talked about throughout the entire presentation. And then when you start getting closer out of your intro into your body, then start using your visual aid. And make sure that you use these slides or visual aid with purpose. So again, not just having some random picture that's going to make the audience laugh if there's no context for it whatsoever in your presentation. Limiting the words on each slide. Your PowerPoints should be no more than something like this because I look at this for reference, not so that I can just stand here and read off the slides, correct? So when you limit the words, it also is limiting the time that the audience is just reading this versus listening to you and trying to engage with you. Using pictures appropriately and being sure you're familiar with the technology. So again, how embarrassing is it if you're spending 15 minutes of your presentation just trying to get the PowerPoint or Prezi or audio to work? So just last thing that I will end off with is as you guys are presenting or working on your presentation skills, how to write your presentations, the Learning Center has lots of opportunities for you guys to come in and get help. Through services like these with the Learning 101s, there's academic coaches that will help sit down and you guys can work with them on your presentation skills. Speed reading to help with your reading retention rate, tutoring, and then also if you guys are looking into grad school, there are pre-grad resources here at UNT Student Activities.